South Africans will only know this evening which parts of the country will move to alert level 3 and which will remain on alert level 4 on the national lockdown. President Cyril Ramaphosa is expected to shed more light on this and other plans to reopen the already ailing economy when he addresses the nation at 7 p.m. For more on this story, we're joined via Skype by Quinton Adams. Quinton, thank you so much for making the time. It's so difficult when we speak to a person such as yourself because you're an educational psychologist, and that is relevant for the conversation we're having today. You're a social activist. You're an author. You're also the coordinator for the Masakhane Development Solutions, where you are known as the shack builder. What has been happening in Cape Town throughout the lockdown time in terms of your work?
Yeah, we are facing with the fact that there's a spike at the moment in Cape Town, and you get reports where there are various hotspots, and people are getting very anxious because of the spike that is happening and the rate of infections in Cape Town. So people are very careful at the moment and very anxious. What we are busy doing, we are focusing a lot on food distribution in informal settlements and communities where poverty is huge. But we are expecting about what the president is going to tell us tonight, and we are very concerned about the schools, what will happen in the schools. So we are waiting for the president to give us more direction in terms of how they will reopen the schools. Of course, the teachers are going back tomorrow, and we've heard already reports of schools that don't have PPEs. But we, as the Shack Builder organization, in the meantime, we are feeding the people, and we have increased our food distribution in various areas within Cape Town.
Pack all of the work that you've been doing. I know we can't show the footage now, but we have it. It's just we're unable to load off the delivery of water in different places and the delivery of food parcels. How has that been going?
It's going very well. We know that the informal settlements had problems before COVID-19 with water supplies, and especially areas like Khayelitsha that we are servicing with water tanks. And of course, there's a big need with water tanks, and we know how vital is water in terms of washing your hands, and especially for people who have HIV and tuberculosis, and they need access of water or access to water. And that's why we have decided to make water tanks part of our project, and we are currently supplying various informal settlements like Khayelitsha, informal settlements on the Cape Flats like Freedom Farm, Belha, various informal settlements, and we are seeing that the challenges are huge at the moment in the informal settlements. That is the area where we are actually focusing our work on. And then secondly, the food distribution. Before COVID-19, we know that 14 million people had problems with hunger, and that number has doubled, of course. And we are also supplying food parcels to people, and we could see in the queues in the food distribution points. It's getting longer. We used to give to 150 to 200 people food, but now it's going to 600 people. And it's very difficult to manage it, but we are prepared to make sure that we get the food, make sure that it gets distributed to people who are hungry at the moment. So it's very difficult because we know that we are under lockdown. We have to respect the regulations. We have to ensure that we make sure that people respect the social distancing in the queues, and we are currently trying to work around all these regulations of lockdown, and that's what we're basically doing in Cape Town at the moment.
Just give us a sense of how you've had to refocus your efforts. You were doing this work before the COVID-19 outbreak. What's different about the work you were doing in February as opposed to now?
Yeah, I think what is interesting, we are doing this kind of work for the past 18, 20 years. It started off as a research project in informal settlements. Now we have started to build physical shacks. And, when it comes to winter in Cape Town, it's you experience all this flooding and rain and storms. And usually in the beginning of June, we place more emphasis on distributing blankets, and also to ensure that those people where we work, that their shacks are ready for the winter. Some of the shacks were dilapidated. We break it down, we build new shacks. But what was interesting before lockdown is that we've realized how huge the problem is. We see now the inequality in South Africa. We see the deep levels of hunger and starvation and malnutrition in our informal settlements. And I always say that before lockdown, that the informal settlements were a neglected area because people focus on all other structural problems, bigger problems. But there are still a lot of people, more than 1 million children are living in informal settlements, and they suffer the most. And that's why we currently, our focus, we have increased our focus in the informal settlements. And we know the winter is coming, and we need to be prepared for the flooding, and also to ensure that people are safe in the informal settlements. We know it's huge challenges because during the winter, it's very difficult with the flooding and the water. But we have to increase our efforts, and with the help of private donors, I think we will double our efforts during the winter. But what is interesting about the COVID-19 is that you really see now the severity of the problem, the challenges of people. Our people are really suffering in these informal settlements. And I think that's what we want to do. We want to be a voice. We want to do advocacy for people living in informal settlements, because we believe that they deserve human dignity. It's a constitutional right, human dignity, and we want to ensure that they get the best services, and the type of structures that we build for them are safe, it's healthier, and that's exactly what we are busy doing at the moment.
So, Quinton, the whole nation is anticipating the president's address this evening. What do the people in the shacks and the informal settlements want to hear from the president?
Yeah, I think there are people who are working, and they want to know, can they go back to work? Not all of them are unemployed. Some of them are working at the restaurants, and they want to know, can they go back to work? But I think especially with people living in informal settlements, they have serious problems with hunger, and there were conflicting ideas regarding can we as NGOs deliver food to them? Can we deliver hot meals to them? That is because they are really on the bottom of the economic pyramid, and their basic issues are food. Can their children go back to school? What will happen to them during winter? Do they have a blanket? For those who are working, and we're working with a population where people are standing on the streets, can we serve them with hot meals, and can we serve them with food? And those are the type of issues that they are facing with. And there was a lot of conflicting messages coming from national government regarding the food issue. At least there was now a court case that is sorted out, so we can now move and we can deliver to people living in informal settlements. And then the bigger issue is, do they have access to hospitals if they will get sick? And we are also developing now a plan for those informal settlements where we are working, that when they get sick, do we have the necessary transport to transport them to a hospital? So it's a massive operation, and our focus is mostly on people living on the bottom of the economic pyramid.
Let's thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much.
Quinton Adams is with the Masakane Development Solutions. Let's take a break. You're watching The Agenda.